Hi again, everybody. My name is Greg Anderson, and this is the Good Timekeeping Show with Greg Anderson. So here's some G-Shock squares that I really like these watches. So I think it's time to talk about some new G-Shock squares. I'm recording this in July of 2021, and found out there are some new G-Shock squares. Right now, they're just in the Japanese market and also being introduced into the European market. But through some sources, Amazon, eBay, and other online sources, I'm sometimes able to buy things that aren't readily available here in the US market. So let's get into some details here. One of my favorite places to go for information about G-Shocks is GCentral.com, so a fan blog that has a lot of good news, information, announcements, that sort of thing. So they picked up the fact that there are some new G-Shocks available in the Japanese market in the line of G-Shock squares. Now these are basically the same as previously released models, and looks like the case is going to be exactly the same. Maybe they'll print a different model number on the back of it, but they've updated the modules inside of these. So as I look at these 6 watches here, the one on the upper left, that one does not have the built-in atomic timekeeping reception for, multiband 6, but the other ones do. So let's take, for example, this is a popular one here in the middle. This is the GW-5000. A lot of G-Shock square enthusiasts really like this one. And the new version is called the GW-5000U. This one here with the red stripe is the GW-M5610, and the new version is called the GW-M5610U. And so there's a U at the end of all these model numbers as compared to the previous versions. Even this one with the carbon fiber is now the GW-S5600U. So you can look into those. Now, you might be wondering, since they're putting out updated versions of these, does that mean they're going to discontinue any previous versions? That I don't know. And part of my struggle here is most of these are only available in the Japanese market, and the previous versions also were only available in the Japanese market. I was able to buy them going through Amazon or eBay and finding some sellers that would actually send them from Japan. So this one here with the red stripe has been available in the American market, the previous version. The new version is not yet announced for the American market, and I don't know if it will be, and I don't know if the old version will be discontinued. We'll just have to kind of stay tuned and figure that one out. So anyway, the previous versions had the module 3159, and the new versions have module 3495. Now, another great source of information for G-Shocks that I like to go to, shockbase.org. So they aim to give you a complete database of all the G-Shocks that have ever been released since the early 80s. Looks like they've got over 4,000 watches in their database already. So you can look up based on different criteria and find out. They're trying to give you everything they can, information about these watches. So if I just look up the GW-M5610, for example, and go back here to the one with the red stripe, here I can see that it was first released in 2011, so about 10 years ago as I'm recording this, and this gives you some of the specifications as far as the size and the weight and what module it uses, all that sort of thing. So this shows me what Casio's been up to when it comes to this particular model. This is it looks a lot like the original G-Shock Square from 1983. So we can kind of see the evolution of how they've been putting these things out over the years. All right, so even though I don't have the new versions that are just released here in July 2021, I do have the older versions of some of these watches, and I can tell you about them, and I can tell you how the new versions are different and upgraded. So here's one with the red stripe. There's that premium one from Japan. Here's one with the negative LCD, and here's the one with the carbon fiber. This can either come with a resin band or kind of a resin composite bracelet. So those are the variations you're going to find in the new versions, okay? There are some things that people really like about these watches and a few things that people wish were different. And some of those things have been addressed with the newer Bluetooth version of the watch. And so what I'm going to tell you is that the new version of this model and the other ones that have the U in the name, it's basically they've taken some of the favorite features from the Bluetooth version and they've put it in this version. They've kept it mostly like this, and it doesn't have Bluetooth, But some of those things you really like about this version are now going to be in this version, and also the other ones I showed you, including the one with the red stripe. So let's look at some of the functions and features that these all have in common with the new one. First of all, of course, on the main screen, you've got the time and the date, all that sort of stuff right there. All those features that have to do with shock resistance and water resistance and all that, those are all carried over to the new version here. This one has a world time mode, and so does this Bluetooth one, but it actually allows you to kind of pre-select 5 different time zones that you can select for the, for the world time mode. So the new version of this will have the 5 world time zones that you can have instead of just one as in there. The next mode here is, you've got 5 alarms plus this hourly signal, and one of them is a snooze alarm. So those are the same. The alarm functions the same on both of these, and the new version will have that as well. When you get into the stopwatch mode, a couple things to keep in mind here. For this old version here, you had hours, minutes, seconds, and hundredths of a second that you could watch here in your stopwatch mode. But this one here and the new U version, it only shows you minutes, seconds, and hundredths of a second for the first hour. And then anything after that up to 24 hours, it does not show you the hundredths of a second anymore. It will only show you hours, minutes, and seconds all the way up to 24 hours. And then if it gets all the way to 24 hours, it'll keep going, and it'll reset as though it was starting at 0 again, and it will just keep on going. But see how it shows you the local time up here while it's in stopwatch mode? See, this guy here, when it's in stopwatch mode, doesn't have any place to show you the local time because it's showing you hours up there. So for some people, that's going to be a really great feature to have when you're in stopwatch mode, local time at the same time. Same thing when you want to do a countdown timer. Here you've got, hours, minutes, and seconds of your countdown, and so do you have that here. Up here it shows you how much you're counting down. So in this case it's the full 24-hour countdown, and in here it just shows you the local time. So while you're in countdown timer mode, local time. So the new version of this with the U in the name shows you the local time in countdown timer mode. Okay, next, when you're back here at the home screen, you have the ability to show a foreign language abbreviation of the day of the week, not just English. Whereas with this one, it's only English. There's no language selection. So the new version of this has the foreign language selection available for the day of the week abbreviation. Another thing I know some people have really wanted, over here you can see for the date, it's got the month and date. So this is for July 29th. But how about reverse that so it's, date and month, 29th of July. So you have the option of displaying it either way on these Bluetooth watches. But thus far, you could not do it on this older version, like the one with the red stripe. You only had the option of showing month, date, and not date, month. Well, guess what, folks? The new version of this will allow you to show date, month over here instead of just month, date. And when I have this one, the Bluetooth one, in world time mode, I can easily swap the local time with this world time by pressing these 2 upper buttons at the same time. Okay, you have that ability with the new version of this guy as well. Now, the other distinctions between these 2 watches can be viewed here in the setup mode. So, of course, the first thing you're going to do is set your local time zone. That's the same with all of these. Then daylight saving time, whether you want that to be automatic or you want it to only show not daylight saving time or only show daylight saving time, you have that ability with both of these. So the new version is also going to retain that. 24-hour mode or 12-hour mode, you've got that. You can also, of course, manually set the time, but that can be overwritten when it receives atomic time information from the atomic time sources. Okay, and then, of course, here you can manually set the date, but over here, this is where they start to diverge. Here you've got the ability to have power save mode active or not active, and those are all the things you can do with this guy. But with this Bluetooth one, and these are features that are carried over to the new version of this guy, you have some extra things here. Here's where you can select month date or date month. Okay. Here's where you can select a different language other than English for the abbreviation of the day of the week. Here's where you can select either muting the beep or having it beep when you press the different buttons. So that will be retained for the, that they can both do that. There's just a different way to select that on here. And here you have the duration selection. So the backlight on this one can either be 2 seconds long or 4 seconds long. The new version of this one will offer the ability to have a 1.5 second or a 3 second backlight. So with this current version, there's no way to adjust the duration of the backlight. The new version will have that. And then of course, yeah, the ability to deactivate automatic time reception and power save mode. Okay, so, and then another, I guess, the other really main thing that's different about the new version of this one is the light. So let's just take a quick look at what the backlight looks like on this older watch. Okay, kind of that blue glow that you get there. Whereas with this Bluetooth version, it's actually an LED, so it has a bit of a different look. It actually looks more white than this other guy, and just a little bit brighter. So the new version of this guy will have an LED like this guy. So look forward to that. And speaking of light, over here it's AEL for automatic electroluminescence, and over here it's LT for light. This indicates that on each of these watches right now, the automatic backlight is active. So what you will see on the new version of this guy, it won't say EL anymore, it will say LT because, again, LED versus this older technology for electroluminescence. A lot of people like the fact that with this red stripe guy, you have the power indicator right there as far as how well the battery is charged, and these other indicators down here. So the new version will retain those. And, that will be different from the Bluetooth version. Some other little subtle differences here. But I guess I would say, if you're looking this up on eBay, and you can't tell if someone is selling you the old version of this, or the version you see right here, or the new version, that is the difference right there that's going to immediately tell you. If it says AEL, then it's the old version. If it says LT in that position, it's the new version. So short of actually having it in your hands and looking at it and looking at the back of the case to see if it has a U in the model number, that's one good indicator right there, whether or not you're looking at the old one or the new one. Because the new one in many ways is going to look so close to this that at a glance it's going to be almost impossible to tell the difference. So I know some of you are probably saying, okay, should I upgrade? Should I get the new one? I already have one of these, but should I get the new one? That's up to you. I would say, I already have all of these, and most of the functions that are added to this are already available in the Bluetooth version. So for me, I'm kind of covered on this one. But if I didn't have a Bluetooth version already, or if I didn't have any of these already, I think I would consider going to the Japanese market to get the new U versions if I were interested in this watch or this watch or this watch or this watch. But for me, since I already have these and the new ones don't look that much different, I think I'll stay put for now. If that changes, I will obviously make a video about it, so stay tuned. You might also consider the price. So when I got this watch here, the one with the red stripe, it was about $90. Somewhere between $90 and $100 was the price you could commonly find for this. Right now, it's about $20 more than that. I don't know, the things have been going on in the international markets and supply chains and all that. But if you want to get the new version and get it from Japan, I've seen prices somewhere between, well, maybe down as low as $135 and up to closer to $200. So maybe wait for the prices to settle down there. Also, when this, I don't know if it's actually available in the European market yet, but when that happens, maybe watch for prices there, and you could order it from someone in the European market, see what that price does. So anyway, there's going to be an increased price for the new versions of these guys compared to the older versions. So if you want to pay the higher price, that is something to consider. And I don't know, maybe you'll be kind of nutty like I am, and you'll take, if you have one of these already, maybe you'll do some strange conversion like this, jelly watch band, and then just get the new one so you can have the more classic style. I don't know, up to you. The neat thing about these G-Shocks is there's there's a lot out there, and if you want to, you can have quite a diverse collection. So if you're interested in the new ones, that's everything I know so far about those. I didn't want you to think I was ignoring that, because that is a very important development when they come out with a new module and kind of update the line. I am troubled by, the way they kind of limit these to certain markets, but I found a way around that again through eBay, Amazon, some sellers like that. So anyway, there's just some news you can use in the world of G-Shock squares, and see what you want to do with that. In the meantime, I hope you'll join me next week, because I'll have another new episode of The Good Timekeeping Show.